Listen to them big trucks whine.
Hello, friends and neighbors. How's everybody doing out there today? I am currently in Springfield, Massachusetts. I picked up on Friday. I delivered this morning. I picked up in Chicago on Friday, delivered this morning, which worked out good. I had lots of time on the run, so it gave me time to get the oil changed in the van along the way, stop and do a little bit of sightseeing, and even had time to get my hair cut. I don't know why I keep cutting my hair. It keeps falling out. Probably just need to let it grow so I can braid it up and wrap it around or something. I'm going to have to give it up one of these days. When do you get to the point where you have to let go of your vanity and just shave your hair? That's a subject for another day. I am not ready to talk about that. I was going to come on here for folks who have not been in like the big truck world, because I'm always hearing people talk, and I'm not talking about like on our Facebook groups, right, the expediting and the trucking world, and I'm talking about this, the regular folks that aren't in transportation, trucking industry. Talking about when you have two trucks and you come up behind one, and they're side by side going down the road at 64 miles an hour. You guys all know what I'm talking about. But what I failed to realize a lot of times is that even sometimes people, maybe in expediting that haven't, been in the industry, a lot of times people don't realize, most times people don't realize that the reason those two trucks are going side by side at 63.5 mile an hour and 64 miles an hour is because those trucks are governed. And again, I know that, and a lot of companies will have theirs governed at like 63, 64, 65, some are 68, some are 70, some will govern them at one speed on the cruise control, and then maybe give them another 3 miles an hour on the foot, on the gas pedal. Each company's got a different policy. Now they do this, I'm sure each company will give a different reason, for fuel mileage for one, because fuel is a huge expense in trucking, and for insurance, making insurance cheaper, which is also a huge expense in the trucking world. So, okay, that's the reason that you get behind two trucks on the interstate, one trying to pass the other one, because one is governed at, say, 64 miles an hour, and the other one is governed at 65 miles an hour. Well, 1 mile an hour, when one truck comes up behind the other one, everybody wants to go as fast as they can possibly go, and they come up behind another truck, and a couple of things happen. One, they come up behind that truck and they're drafting them, right? The truck in front is blocking the wind, so that gives the truck behind, less wind resistance, so he's got a little bit more power to begin with, plus he's got another mile anyway. So he thinks he can pass, and he gets over in the left lane, and now he's got all this wind resistance, so he slows back. He can't go quite as fast, and even if he could, he can only pass him at 1 mile an hour, which takes forever. Now, these guys are driving all day long or all night long, so you say, well, just stay behind them. Well, yes and no. I mean, they don't want to be stuck behind, they don't, it's psychological. The truth is, it's a psychological thing. You're sitting here behind the wheel all day, and you got somebody in front of you, and you keep running up on them and then having to slow down, run up on them and slow down. So psychologically, you want to get around this truck. Listen, I've driven a governed truck. I've driven a governed truck many miles, so I understand that. I understand that aspect of it. Here's here is where I think the improvement could be made. So, one, obviously a truck shouldn't be jumping out trying to pass if there's a line of traffic coming and speed limit 75 and you can only go 65 and you're going to jump out in front of a bunch of traffic. Don't do that. Wait for a decent opportunity. But most importantly, the guy on the right that's being passed, I don't know if nobody's teaching this in their schools or if it's just I don't know what's going on, but the guy on the right that's being passed needs to back out of it and let that truck around. That's the long and short of it, and I'll die on that hill because that's what needs to happen. Are there exceptions to that rule? There's exceptions to every rule, but in general, I mean, and I see some of it, but my goodness, we've all gotten behind a couple of, I'm not going to call company names, I'm not going to do it, but we've all gotten behind a couple of slow freight trucks, and one trying to pass the other, and been behind them for 10 miles, and traffic piled up, it's, that guy on the right needs to back off. I mean, if the truck that's passing is making any kind of progress whatsoever, then the guy on the right needs to back off. If the guy passing is not doing any good at all, then he needs to back off and get back behind the other truck, But anyway, that's the reason that happens. I don't think there's much else to say about that other than, again, people who aren't in the industry don't understand. They think they're, a lot of times they think, because I've heard them, I've heard people say, and it's just because they're not aware. Why don't they speed up? Why do they, if they can't go any faster than that, why don't they? Those trucks are governed. They're like they're driving slow NASCARs. Everything's regulated, Anyway, but common decency goes a long way. Talking on that, I am sitting in a Walmart parking lot right now. I'm looking around, and I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I see 10 shopping carts sitting out in this parking lot that nobody put up. What is wrong with people? Put your shopping carts up. Boy, I could carry on about that for a while. I could carry on about that for a while, but I don't want this to be a complete gripe session. I didn't really intend for it to be a gripe session anyway. I just wanted to explain to the folks who didn't know why those trucks are side by side. Again, I know that most of the people watching any videos I make, not all, but most, are probably in the industry and already know this. But let's see, I stopped by, where did I stop by? Oh yeah, I stopped by one of the old original locks on the Erie Canal that a bunch of you guys have probably passed on I-90 on the thruway in New York. I never took time to stop and look around. It's kind of cool. I'll stick up some pictures and video I made while I stopped there. It was built in the 1800s, and I don't know, that kind of stuff's kind of cool. Guys, every chance you get, stop and look around. Listen, I spent years out here driving around, and I never stopped and really looked at anything. My wife can attest to that. But you don't know how long you're going to be out here. Something could happen next week, and you might have to get off the road. You don't know. So if you have an opportunity, stop and sightsee. I know a lot of you do, but some of you are probably like I was for years, and I just went from point A to point B. But gosh, if you weren't out here driving for a living, most of us wouldn't have an opportunity to go to most of the places that we go, or drive by the things we drive by. Now, I don't stop and see a lot, not as much as I should, but I do try to stop some. And I'd just like to encourage everybody to stop and sightsee and stop and smell the roses, as they say. But think about it as if, you know, if you were out traveling, say, this week, and in your mind you thought, you know, this is the last week I'm going to be on the road. After this, I'm going back off the road, and I'll never be out on the road again. You know, you might want to stop and see things. Anyway, I guess that's my PSA. Hope everybody has a great week. Hoping I get a run. Maybe I'll get a run today, get me out of New England. It's beautiful up here, but you know, it's just not my favorite area to hang out in. That's psychological, goes back to my old truck driving days probably. But the weather's nice, and it is beautiful country. Have a great week. I'll talk to you all later.
I'm going down on the highway, listen to them big trucks whine. I'm going down on the highway, listen to them big trucks whine. White freight line wants to steal away my mind. New Mexico ain't bad, Lord, women there to treat me kind. New Mexico ain't bad, Lord, women there to treat me kind. White freight line wants to steal away my mind. Well, it's bad news from Houston, half of my friends are dying. It's bad news from Houston, half of my friends are dying.